Greetings and salutations. So, this is just a kind of a brief discussion and overview of progression. So, I've been playing a lot of Empyrion lately, and I've been playing the survival. I've done a little single player and a little bit of multiplayer, and I've kind of you start doing the shipbuilding, and then the beauty is there's in this game there's a heavy mod community or a heavy workshop development. And so I've stumbled across some of Jeff Randall's ships. And then through playing his ships about 50 or 60 hours or so in the survival single player mode, I've come to a couple of realizations. Like I really, really, really like this MX6A ship. It's almost was my go-to creation ship, but I just liked how everything was laid out. I really liked how they had the storage and it named everything with these LCD screens in here, and it was really functional. And then also this upgrade path that Jeff does with you can kind of look on here and be like remove T2 CPU, and then if you look here, it's like T3. Add the T3 here, and here's your T2, and you're like boom, and so everything's super laid out and it's functional. And then you have the drone hatch, and it just shows a solid upgrade path. And then if you want, you can come in here and then hit F, and then when you leave the cockpit, you're standing on top, and it's easy. It's a very functional and easy ship to use, and it upgrades up into a shield system. Everything is tested. But one of the issues that I had is I liked an internal cockpit. And so I had to really figure out the internal creation tools, the modding tools. So I just wanted to say thank you, Jeff, for sending me down that journey of the workshop slash creator mode. Because if it wasn't for downloading and playing some of your projects, I wouldn't have gotten into this at the level of fidelity that I have. And because you're so high on the texturing and that next level, because I've downloaded a bunch of stuff and it's almost ruined the experience for me, because even though mechanically it'll be a functional vessel, because I'll be like, man, this guy just doesn't have the comprehension that some of Randall's projects do. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. But here's my adaptation of the MX, what was it? MX5 Echo, right? And so I changed up the grading. I made it look more like Blackhawk. I matched the grading on both sides, and then it's kind of like a blowout protector. I've also made this to where it looks more like a Blackhawk, and then I added a secondary seat. I got rid of the extra 230, and I added an extra O2 tank because there's an extra person. But I maintain pretty much everything. And but then and then so when you sit on it, and I noticed there was a couple other variances on the workshop, but they had the cockpit, the seat sit up a block higher, and when people would get out, they would actually glitch through the front windshield, and they would glitch through the front windshield and back out into space. So it took a little bit to get dialed in, but I was able to replicate most of the same variance of texture and that high level of fidelity that Randall does in his vessels. And so, you can see here, it's still got decent visibility. And then you go out, and I probably have 20 or 30 hours in this variant of the vessel, and I prefer this for once you get into that space environment. But then something I wanted was I realized that I needed a little bit more functionality, and because I've been playing in the with CPU and volumes enabled, and I needed a little bit more weight capacity, and I wanted to improve this viewing angle or this viewing experience. So I downloaded a bunch more projects, and I downloaded this thing, which has this shape of windshield. So I wanted to emulate this shape of windshield, and I really like what he's done here. It's just this is a little bit more expensive to get into, and I didn't want to spend that much money in the early game, because you can the differences between these two is this is arguably cheaper in some resources than this, because this is 1,800 hit points, and so there's a little bit of cost that comes with that. And here, these are armored windshields, or no, I think these are regular, but it's relatively pretty inexpensive to get into. So I did this version, and I probably have 10 hours into the homogeny of this is the in between, right? So I've renamed this the MCX, or the MX8 Alpha, because really, everything is the MCRN kind of themed, and I like that, but it's kind of like there's no Mars thing in the game, so I think the nomenclature just needs to be simpler and straightforward. So this is a 5, this is a 6. I'm going to start working on a 7. I'm calling this one the 8, and I'm not claiming ownership of this. I just think this is kind of my recommendation of the naming convention. Is they segue. So this is kind of like your mid, and there's the MX1, which is what doesn't have a warp drive, and that fits into this lineup. So you have your MX1, your MX5, your two variances, and the beauty about this nomenclature is you can have this is the MX6 Alpha 5. So this is the 5th adaptation that I've gotten into before I got it to this point in the building process. This is the Alpha 1. So MX5 Alpha 1. So this is got shield capable. This is not shield capable. And so on par, these two are very similar in expense. You're going to need the 4 optical bridges to get into this. But I've maintained the same level of the same level. I took away the LCD because, oh no, it's still there. It's still there, but it's got this one's got the Alpha 1's got the Tier 3 CPU. It's got the warp drive, but everything else is very similar. I came in the second seat, and I added one more O2 tank just for a little bit of synergy. I managed the textures. I kind of dual layered this. So the big thing about this is the cockpit view. The cockpit, this one's out of fuel. The cockpit view is, I really like this cockpit view. It's and one other thing that I've done is I've kind of opened it up, so you can kind of think about this as like an Imperial escort, or a diplomat escort vessel. So you can see through the ceiling there, and you can see through the front of this, and it's just a little bit better visibility on the front of this. And I was really kind of torn between the two deep, like this is too deep right here, two panels deep, because that's very functional. It's a little bit narrow of a ceiling, and um, it, it's it works very well. But with this one, what I've done is it's a three tile ceiling, and I like just the flow of this. And I messed around with this a lot. I probably put 10 hours into the front of this beak, maybe more, getting it dialed in. Initially, I kept the same fuel, the rounded off look, and the same fuel pods, but it didn't feel right. It didn't work well because it didn't have those front thruster carriage mounts to hold all those thrusters. Like, this looks like a fuel pod that feeds into this, and this is so well done. But this is a Segway ship. This segues from there. So this is a 6, and I'm gonna start working on a 7. And something else I've done with this is I upgraded so that's a 10,000 pound carry weight. This is a 15,000 pound carry weight with so it's just a slight bump up. You have maybe another 20% better oxygen. You have another 5,000 pounds of carry capacity, and a little bit better visibility. And so here is I'm calling this the MX8 now, just so that way to kind of show the progression and the lineage. This is 30,000 pounds carry capacity. I don't fully understand the thrust power, increased thrust power. I don't fully understand that functionality, but this is fully loaded out. There isn't a stripped down version of this, and I really like how these two ships, like, this has set me down a journey to where all ships that I craft, I'm gonna do in this tier one, or like, for example, tier one, and then the fully upgraded version, the alpha one, and really, in my save file, I have like every variant of this. So I have the base version, and then I'll have Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, and with even different weapon configurations, like heat-seeking rockets, non-heat-seeking rockets, lasers. But for a general purpose, though, there's the entry-level version, and then the fully upgraded version. But I think that needs to be done with this as well. There needs to be the entry-level version, and I don't know if that can be doable with the CPU requirements of the because this. I don't think this has a shield. I don't think this has a shield, and then so that's where, yeah, there's no shield on this. So he's got all of that CPU going towards different things on here, but it's got a warp drive, and so this really is kind of a multi-role. This is not a combat vessel. It's just got the one rocket and the one Gatling gun, and this definitely fits into the same scheme as this. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make a 7 where I maintain the same synergy. I'll probably keep the back end, but I'm gonna try to pull the same thrusters and the boosters. I think these thrusters are where he's eating up all of his CPU, because this thing's got a tremendous amount of lift, and it's done so well. This is a hauler, and it's just got enough rockets on there to maybe take out a turret that's shooting at it or something. But I really like what he's done with this. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to showcase some of this. I haven't published any of it on the workshop. I'm not going to. I just wanted to kind of say, thanks to Jeff for kind of turning me on to some of this, and providing a high fidelity example of what's possible in the creation shop. And it kind of has raised my expectation on what to build or craft to. And because of the videos and him talking through some of his scenarios, it's really kind of evolved my perception on some of these systems. And I would like to see some more content on the creator aspect, like how he presets up his, every time he launches a game, how he kind of falls into a preset of his craft mode, like what stuff he turns on, what stuff he turns off, what he kind of dials his settings into, and what's his rhythm, right? What's his rhythm as far as presets? But this maintains a lot of the same characteristics of the MX5, as you can fly around, and then you can see as you go into the cockpit mode, the visibility is just so much better on this. And I think from now on, this is the front end that I'm going to use, just because the visibility is so good. I might do a reverse of this for the figure out how to integrate into the MX5, to where I flip it around, so instead it's the opposite direction. But it still maintains, it's a little bit more sluggish, but you've picked up a significant amount of capability. So it's kind of like that segue, You know, 5,000 extra 5,000 pounds of carrying capacity is a pretty big thing, especially when you're playing in, you know, with CPU and mass enabled, and you're trying to get off the planet, and you're segueing into space, and you just need a little bit more salvage with almost no additional upgrade material cost. You're just a little bit more capability, because let's be honest, we're going to be in that salvaging phase, uh, you know, when you're using these vessels. But as always, thanks for watching, and you know, give me feedback. Let me know what you think. All right, so long.